Hello, this is the Cobra MM48SPH, which is a 19-inch rotary mower, a mulch mower with a Honda engine. So this is the box that it arrives in when you buy it. So what we'll do is take it out of the box, get everything on the bench. I'll show you how to put it together so that you can be ready for mowing your lawn. So here it is, our mulch mower, all unpacked. So we've got the main mower here. We've got to just fix the handlebars into position. There's an optional bumper bar that can go on the front. I'll talk about that in a minute. It's got all the clamps, the screws, the nuts, the bolts, the cable clips, the mower manual and the Honda engine manual, and it also comes with engine oil. So we've got everything we need there to get it going. So what we'll do to start with is get the handlebars in place. Really simple to do, the handlebars. So I'm just going to fold this piece back out of the way to start with, because that's the piece we use second, and we're going to fit this piece first. So it's a two-section one. And what we do is we make this one goes on the outside of this frame here, and it fixes into place with these two nuts and bolts here. So I'm just going to open those up. You can do this on your own, but if you have got somebody to help it to steady it, it just makes it a little bit easier. So what we do is we take our handlebar there, cables go into the middle, and then we can put that into position, and it fits over the tubular one. Can I just ask you to steady that for me, Gareth, please? There's a bit of spring on there, so that's going to hold it nice and tight. Flat washer on. Make sure you don't trap any wires when you're doing this. Just spin that round and tighten it up nice and tight like that. So that's the first piece there in position, and then we've got the second piece here, and we've got these clamps here. So we just take those off ready as well with the washer, and the same with this one. And then again, if we just offer this up, and Gareth, if I can just have your assistance here. The holes are already there, so it's a case of we're going to go from the outside with the red lever through the hole, just pull it in, and then it's the washer goes on, and then the black knob, and tighten that. And we don't go too tight with that because this tensions it, this red lever, so we just need to tighten it gently, a little bit at a time, till we've got some resistance on this. A little bit more, so just adjust it gently, and we can see once you've got that resistance there, that holds that really firmly in place. So to release the handlebars, to fold them over if you want to, you could just take that tension off and loosen that. So that is holding that nice and firmly in place. We also need to fit the cables to the top here. It's really easy. The top one goes to the red one, and the bottom one goes to the black one. And to fit them, what we do is we have to just unhook them. They just spring loaded out of the hole in the handlebar, just so we can get in. It's just got this little kink on the end of it there that just threads through, and once it's in place, it's just then a case of forcing that back into the hole, so then that is spring loaded. And likewise with the red one, just release it, push it through there, so just pull it back, bit of tension there, and again you can see then we've got the pressure on there to do that. And then finally what we need to do is just to make sure these two cables here aren't going to flap around. There is a plastic cable grip, so just put the cables into that first, and then that just clips over there, and you can just adjust them to make sure that they're nice and neat up there. So that is ready to go. So handlebars are all assembled. What I'll show you now is this additional extra here. It's optional, and this fits on the front as a bumper bar, so that if you're mowing up against walls or trees, you're not going to damage the plastic front of the mower. Okay, so you do need some tools to do this. You're going to need an Allen key, a 5mm Allen key, a 13mm spanner, and a Phillips screwdriver. So I'm going to take the nut and bolt off there first. It just takes a few minutes to do. So we just take those off. And then what we need, you need somebody to help with this because we need to lean the mower back. So first of all, we've got 2 screws at the side there, front and back of the wheel, and to get access to them you need to raise the height of cut of the mower so that this bracket here moves out of the way of that screw. So I'm going to take the 2 screws out from the side. It literally only takes 2 or 3 minutes to fit this, and once it's fitted permanently. So 2 screws out this side, and then I'm just going to whiz round this side and take these 2 screws out. Like that, so keep those nice and safe. What we need to do next is tilt the mower back. Now we're doing this before we put any oil or petrol in, so if you are going to fit it, that's the best time to do it. Gareth, if I could just ask you to tilt it back. So there we go, and he's going to hold on to it so it can't fall forward. 2 screws here, we want to take those 2 screws out. So slacken those off and remove them. Like that, and then this top will simply come out of position. If I could just ask you now to lower that down for me a second, Gareth, just to take that out. I've got to just lower the height to cut again to take that out, so that just slides out very easily. And then what we can do is we can position our bumper bar. Okay, so what we're doing then, tilted back, we've got the 2 holes on the outer there that line up with the holes in the frame. And I'm just going to put it so that the bolt goes through from there, and then I've got the locking nut like that. Just do that finger tight, and then I'm just going to repeat at this side. And so then, using the Allen key and a spanner on the top there, you can just tighten that like that. So that's that one done, and then again spanner on there. And then we can just tighten that one onto that one. Nice and firm there, the bumper bar. So thank you, Gareth. So then all we need to do is to then replace the lid like that. So that slots into position into there, and we just put those 6 screws back in, 2 either side of the wheel, 2 on the bottom, nice and tight, and that is it. So once you've fitted it, you've got a strong bumper bar at the front. You'll notice there are 2 cable ties in there. They are in case you want to secure the cables anywhere else on the handlebar, so they're for when you need them. Let's have a look now at fueling it up. This will arrive with no petrol in it and no oil, and before you attempt to start the mower it must have oil in it, otherwise you'll do lots of damage to the engine. So this is where we put the oil here. This is the dipstick, so that just screws off, and the mower comes complete with a bottle of mower oil there. So there's the oil that we need to put in. It tells you in the manual how much it needs. This particular model needs 410 millilitres of oil. So we'll just take that off. So we've got the oil here, and we need to just pour it in. Now bear in mind, although it needs 410 millilitres, all the engines are pre-tested at the factory, so there will be a little bit of a residue in there. So 410 is what we need, but the best way to do that is to just keep checking it with the dipstick. So I'm going to put some oil into there. It's got graduations on it, so I can get a rough idea. So it's always better to put a little less in, check it, and then add more. Just have a look to see roughly how much we've got in there. I think we need a bit more yet. And that's going to be about enough. While I'm letting that settle, before we dip it on the dipstick, we can put some petrol into it as well. So petrol cap is this side. All right, and this takes unleaded petrol. So always use fresh petrol. If you've got some that you've had in a tin in your garage or shed for months and months, don't use that. Get some fresh petrol. It makes the engine run so much smoother. So clean petrol into there, and then the cap straight back on. And then what we can do is just dip the dipstick just here. I don't know where the dipstick is. It's blown away. Dipstick in, just wipe it clean to start with, and what we're looking for is when we dip it, you'll see at the base of the dipstick there's a little hatched section there. We want it to be to the top of that. Now this is new oil, so it's really clear, so you've got to sort of have a close look at it. I can see it's just to the top there, so that can go in there, but just keep checking it until you're happy with it. And then of course when we've run the engine for a few minutes, just let it settle, test it again just to make sure, doubly check that it's right. So that is it now. The mower is ready to go, so we're going to lift it down, put it on the grass, and I'll go through the starting procedure and we can cut some grass with it. Right, so there we are. We're all now set up and ready for mowing. Just a couple of things before we do start the engine. The factory settings, when it's put in the box and everything, it's always on the lowest cut. So we would never start a mower with the blade bedded down in the grass like that. It's just going to damage the lawn and rip the grass out. So raise the height of cut. And the secret with a mulch mower is because we're not collecting. What it does, it cuts the grass and it just whirls it round under there. It's got a slightly different blade in it underneath the deck there. It chops it into very fine pieces, and the downdraft blows it into this covering of grass here, and then it decomposes, it gives off nitrogen, it feeds the lawn, and you get a lovely green finish. But the secret is not to mow too close at the first time, gradually decrease the height of cut and mow little and often. That's the way to do it. So we're going to lift that to start with and we can adjust it. Just also, there is a petrol switch there. We've put fresh fuel in there. It's always on when you buy the mower from new, but just in case you want to isolate the fuel at any point, just turn the little lever there, and then it has to be back in line to get that flow of fuel. So that is it. We're ready to go. Starting is very simple. Bear in mind when it's a new engine it might just take a couple of pulls. It's got a recoil here, so we can fit that onto the handlebar bracket there. So to do that we pull in the red lever. The red lever takes some of the compression off the engine, and just pull that slowly and wrap it round there. So that just makes it easier for starting in the future from this position. And then to start the mower, normally we would pull the red lever back, we would pull that till the engine goes, and then when the engine's running, this lever at the back we push forward, and that's the self-propulsion, and that will drive it for us. To stop, we just let go of all the levers. It's as simple as that. So let's give it a go. So we just pull the lever back, we then just give that a pull. Might take a couple because this engine's not been started before. And then to go forward, we push this lever in. And there you have it, really easy to use. It's making a good job. What I'd do with this is then next time I mow it, I'd probably go one lower so that it gets that grass mulch down, and it will really improve the texture of the grass and the look of the grass. When you're finished with it, one last little feature on this is there's a wash point there, so you can just simply put your hose pipe on there, lift the height of cut, and then turn the tap on, start the engine, get the blades going round, and that will wash all that wet grass from underneath it, so it's ready to go next time. So enjoy using your mulch mower.
Remember to register your Cobra online at www.cobragarden.co.uk. Always have your Cobra serviced regularly. Check the website for your nearest dealer.